Okay. Good evening, everybody. I welcome you all to the webinar today. We are going to talk about the mental health issues being faced by the millennials. And the topic of today's webinar is Mind Your Mind, Managing the Storm Inside, or Calming the Storm Inside Us. Now, I have my daughter who's in the college. She's a student. I have my son who is a school-going student, and I see them facing a lot of issues, like there is a lot of influence of social media in their lives, as well as there is a lot of cutthroat competition. Then there is a lot of peer pressure that they face. Now that age group is facing many issues nowadays, and let us talk to the experts today and try to delve a little more into the issues the millennials are facing and maybe find a little solution to those problems. Now, Voices for Happy Homes is our campaign to showcase and highlight an anomaly in the system. Now, the system says that only paid work would be accepted as work, whereas we believe that as much as paid work is important, so is unpaid work. And what is that unpaid work? Is that the work we do in our home. So the anomaly in the system creates such a divide that I, as a mother, if I'm cooking the food in a home, then that would not be considered as work. But if I do it for my neighbor for money, then it becomes work. So we highlight this anomaly in the system, and let's go ahead and let me introduce to the panelists today. We have Isaac Agarwal, who's the keynote speaker today, and he's the founder of the Global Suicide Prevention Squad and director with Huas Technology. I welcome Isaac today to the webinar. Okay, then we have, welcome please. Then we have, I think Carla is just joining in, and Carla is she's the co-speaker. She's a cognitivologist. Now that's a difficult word. And she's the VP NeduCare Foundation US. Hi, Carla, if you can hear me. I don't know. Let's go ahead. As soon as she joins and she can hear, we can welcome her. Now we have Rajni with her, who's the guest speaker. She's an educationist, a pedagogist, a thought coach, and a speaker. Welcome, Rajni, to the webinar.
Thank you so much.
Then we have Harshita Goda, who's a student counselor in the Martin Luther Christian University. Hi, Harshita. Welcome to the webinar. Then we have S. Sri Kavya, who's a counselor, psychologist, Bangalore. Welcome, Kavya. Namita C., who's a student counselor, Bangalore. Welcome, Namita. And Mary Eliza, who's a trainee counselor with Sampurna Montfort College, Bangalore. I welcome you all to the webinar today. Now, we have with us, hi, Carla, can you hear us? Are you there with us?
But I cannot see you. Can you see me?
No, we cannot see you. And put on your the video if that is possible, because just try that. Maybe we can see you then. But in the meantime, let's hear from Isaac. He's the keynote speaker today, and he does a lot of in national and international webinars and trainings on suicide prevention. Over to Isaac, and a very warm welcome to him. Thank you, Isaac. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Mona, for this wonderful opportunity. And I want to welcome all the panelists on the panel. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to be here. And as you rightly said, mental health is a beautiful issue which have to be addressed, because not many are talking about it. It has already been a stigmatic subject, and many are not talking about it. And so we started this project that we wanted to change the strategy when we want to talk about mental health. If you know, all around the world, the strategy has been come and talk, tell us what you are going through. But according to our research, we came to know that 99% people don't come forward to talk about it. So there has to be a strategy change. And in that we said, okay, what can we do? Can we educate the whole society? Can everybody know the symptoms of mental health deterioration? Because many people have said, okay, what are the reasons for suicide? According to us, and I hope everybody agrees, the main reason for suicide is that suicide is not detected on time. But right, like every other sickness, if that sickness is not detected on time, you cannot cure that sickness. Prevention is always better than cure. But in this situation, you don't even realize that, oh, you are going through something. Or even if you realize you are going through something, you think you are not going to be accepted, because that's the way, society is sometimes. Oh, no. I can give you the example of Deepika Padukone. When you read about her last month, when she was talking about her, she said she was going through that mental health. But thank God for her mother. That's what she said. That, oh, her mother was there and she pushed her to talk, because otherwise everybody was going on for her. And like so many others are there. So if one statement she made, he said, thank God for my mother, she could recognize these symptoms that I have mental health challenge. So this is where the main challenge is, the education of the society about knowing the symptoms of mental health. We have trained our kids, we have trained the society, oh, when you have a swollen leg, when blood is flowing, something is wrong, go and ask for help. But people don't even know what is happening with them. They think it's a minor issue, because according to them, they can handle it. And they just don't know. And even the attitude of the family and the friends is not there. But in this case, you need help. Somebody needs help. Because like I always give example, if A is the doctor and B is the patient, in a normal scenario, B wants to go to the doctor. You understand? But in mental health case, B does not want to go to the doctor, because he thinks that he will be labeled as a mental. I hope I'm making sense. That the moment he goes to a psychologist and a person who has mental health expertise, they think they are being mental. So they are not able to differentiate that, oh, they need help, because they want to run away from that stigma. They are in a denial mode, self-denial mode, that, oh, everything is well, it cannot happen to me, and most of the time parents, the same thing. I educate a lot of people. I'm training officially all the Maharashtra police. We are their official trainer. I've trained Nigerian army, I've trained armies of the world. We have access to that kind of people. And once I train them, they said, thank you for coming up. Because even like I can't give you the names. With the officials, they say, we can't even come out to tell you how many people are committing suicide in the forces. They say almost one person is committing suicide inside the force, but they can't bring it out, because they fear that, oh, how force can have mental health problem. So according to us, the main challenge is the society has to be trained the way we were trained how to brush our teeth, how to button our shirt. Everybody has to be trained to recognize those symptoms, those signs that somebody is going through a problem. And there are several ways you can do that. So according to me, the main reason for suicide is that it is not detected on time. If it can be detected on time, people can come out of it. People can say, okay, yes, I'm going through the problem, I need the help. And even the society as a whole can accept, yes, it can happen to my child. We are also official counsel for all the Mumbai schools, through BMC, through private schools, universities. We are official counselor, and we have a workforce of almost 50,000 people. 50,000 people are working with us globally. We have a big presence in Southeast Asia. But one thing is in common, the movement, and I think my fellow psychologists will agree with me, because they're working in a school. If you call a parent and tell them, your son is going through the challenge, the first statement, it can't happen to my son. I hope I'm making sense. I think they're smiling, they know what we are talking. We are in the same thing. So this is where the challenge is. And then we can say, oh, you are saying it's a pressure, but we did not say it was a pressure. So how can you say it's a pressure? No, we can't talk, because what is pressure for somebody might not be a pressure for another person. So it changes. We have a simple funda in our organization. When somebody is in a quagmire, don't ask how did you reach the quagmire, why you are in the quagmire. First, bring him out of the quagmire. So the same issue has to go with the mental health, because I always tell people, when you recognize those symptoms, the best counsel is no counsel. All they want a listening ear. Can you be there to understand what they are trying to say? Just don't give them any advice. That's what we tell them. The golden rule of counseling in mental health, if you are a layperson, no counseling. I hope I'm making sense. It's better not to judge, better not to give any comment, better not to give any advice. Just hear them out. And this is where the challenge is, that is, according to me, is the main reason for suicide. Everything else can be brought to table, can be discussed. You can have a financial challenge, you can have a challenge in marriage, you can have a challenge. But if you have somebody, because at that time you are not able to see the light out of the tunnel, and you need somebody from outside to come into your situation and give you another perspective. It's like a physical ailment. You don't know what is happening. You think it's a normal cough unless you go to a doctor and they diagnose you whatever it comes out to be. So the very same way, people have to accept that, oh, it can happen, in that we might not be able to see the future. We might not be able to see the light out of the tunnel. We might lose hope because everybody lives in a different environment. We don't know whom we are talking with, and people are talking negativity to you because, it depends upon your perspective, what you're looking at. So the main reason for suicide is that suicide is not detected on time. And then there is a denial from the person who is suffering and from the people nearby. They don't think it can happen. And it's a laughing stock, like, oh, the guy has become mental, Just going to a psychologist does not make anybody mental. So that thing has to be broken. And that can only happen, like when we started the work in 2017, we said, okay, we want to come for suicide prevention. He said, don't take the word suicide. People will be inspired to commit suicide. I said, it's not, there's some myth. Just because the word suicide will not push you for suicide. But people have those kind of myth. People don't want to, they say, no, don't come and talk about word suicide. Can you lighten it up? I said, I can lighten it up, but people are already thinking about it. Like according to all these studies, when we talk about millennials, suicide has become a hobby. Suicide has become a courageous thing. You will be surprised. You will be surprised the way they discuss suicide. I had a very beautiful incident. One of my staff member, he came in the working hours. He said, sir, thank you for starting the program. I said, what happened? He said, I was coming from the railway station and there were two girls behind me. And then they were discussing, he overheard their conversation. And one was saying, I want to commit suicide. Second was saying, you are so lucky. I don't even have the courage to commit suicide. Do you understand? So suicide has become courageous to them. It has become a thing of courage that, oh, they can look at the death. So, and that nobody is talking to them because we think the conversation is not broken, that nobody is coming and speaking with them. We are just expecting them to come and talk to us. They will not do that because they already have a different perspective about suicide, whether you agree or not. I hope my fellow panelists will agree. They already have a different perspective to that. They think, oh, if I'm suffering, why should I suffer? Just allow me to end my life. Why should I? Because stickability is not being taught, because they are born into, like a spoon in a mouth, so everything is given to them on a platter, and they are not taught sometimes that, oh, that you have to work to get something. And when they are not getting something, like we have one child policy, most of the people have just one child, they get whatever they want. So this has to be taken into consideration that, oh, when you are a parent of a single child and when you are privileged, like in my family, we are privileged, but we always tell our children, just because you are privileged, you don't think you are going to get this. Work hard for it. That's what we tell our children in our family. We just tell them that we all have single child. We are brothers, 4 brothers. All are privileged, but we tell them just because you are privileged does not mean you're going to get it. Work for it. So it's a whole intervention which is required. So we have workshop, 1 hour workshop, where we go to different group of people, to students, to teachers, to parents, to security forces, because security forces don't know how to handle the situation, especially in India or Asia or Africa, because nobody cares for them. Thank God we came, and I think we would have saved more than 20,000 lives just working with police department. our phone keeps ringing. They say, oh, this person has come, what do we do? Because everybody thinks, you don't have to handle those kind of cases. So police was suing them away. But when we came into the picture, we started providing solution. And now, thank God that we have saved so many lives, so many lives. So for me, the reason for suicide is it is not detected, and it is not being spoken about. So we have to come and tell them that these are the signs. They can self-diagnose. They can self-diagnose that, oh, they are going through some challenges, and they can know that this will be the next step and they need our help. I remember a beautiful testimony. I was training in one of these schools in Ambernath. I think it's way back in 2018. And this particular boy was in 9th standard at that time. And so I had my lecture and all of that. And in 2020, he called me out of the blue. He said, sir, I want to say thank you to you. I precisely remember the date. It was 5th December 2020. He said, I want to say thank you. I said, for what? He said, for saving my life. I said, what did I do? He said, you might not remember. You came to our college 3 years back and you told us about mental health. I had a breakup and I wanted to commit suicide. But I remember your word that there is hope in life. Just go and talk to somebody. This thought will not go away by itself. You can't handle it. You need an intervention. He said, I threw off your card, but I went to a psychologist, and thank God that psychologist also knew us because we have a panel. And then that's how he got our number and came to tell us, thank you for coming and talking with us that, oh yes, when these thoughts are coming, you need outside intervention. And thank God I was in that lecture. I could remember that particular line. So when I needed the help, I reached out for help because I never thought I needed help. So according to me, if we can detect it, we can train the society. And so we have just 1 hour workshop for every, for different category of people. That in 1 hour workshop, we talk about symptoms, we talk about intervention, we talk about participation. Good things goes on in that thing. And we are almost in 16 countries now. Training the parliaments, training the students, is going on well because everybody is accepting. Because earlier the approach was come and talk to us, but we are changing it. We are going to the grassroots level, conducting workshops, and making people
absolutely. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Isaac. Thank you for telling us the reasons for suicide. And you very aptly said that somebody to talk to if it is detected and they have somebody to talk to, that would, avert so many of them. And I have now Carla, and there is a lot of, like you said about Deepika Padukone, that her mother detected that she is having certain symptoms and she was there for her, and that could be avoided because she was vocal about it. And the best thing about that is that she brought forth that the mental health is the problem that should be talked about. And family has a very important contribution in the upbringing. Parenting is very important. And here we have Carla today with us. And as I mentioned about her, she is the cognitologist as well as VP Native Care Foundation. Carla, I was introducing you a little time ago that you had not logged in, so I just introduced you again. Let me ask you this question. How much is the influence of home environment on mental health?
Okay, in one simple answer, it's 100%. And thank you for welcoming me to the show. And I'm glad I finally got connected. That's great. I better talk fast in case this connection goes away. Again, I'm going to say, if you gave me only 10 seconds to speak, I would say family influence is 100% significant and effective. And I want to say up front that the most important job in the world is that of a parent, and it can hardly be stressed enough. Conquering this issue really means that parents too need to be on the introductory page, at least, of understanding what brain development is, because parenting is actually brain development. And without a fundamental, rigorous understanding of brain development, it's hard for us to create a new shift in what child development actually is and what the definition of that is. In fact, actually, even though we want to honor parents, it should really be called childing, because raising children is about childing. It's about raising children and developing their brains. So, but I think the fact that we have the term parenting on it has given it too much of a sense that it's about how parents feel in the process. I'm hardly saying at all that parents' feelings are to be disregarded, but the main focus here is about children's emotional intelligence development, which is how the human brain develops. But I think what I want to bring light to, at different times along the course of me always developing cognitivology, one of the prevailing themes that I'm going through right now is to get people to understand that we need to conquer this issue of mental and emotional health. And mental and emotional health is a brain development issue. And we have for 40 or 50,000 years, all over the world, in every culture, what we need to understand is regardless of whatever happens, regardless of what goes wrong, parents always want what is best for their children. The question is, are parents being given the best information possible? And what is the best information possible? The best information possible is how the human brain actually develops. And 90% of it develops in the first 5 years. So if we stay vigilant to what standards actually are. I know people have their own parenting styles, but the standard model is created by the brain itself, okay? And the brain itself is a microcosmic entity, both visible and invisible, which means that it needs to be subjected also to the same rules and universal laws that operate all functionalities in the universe, whether visible or invisible. And 60 to 70% of our abilities are in the invisible sector of energy, matter, multi-dimensional senses. So the fact that we have so many mental and emotional illnesses that could be classified as being more invisible, we might find little bits and pieces in the brain, a smaller amygdala, or, perhaps a smaller hippocampus, of course, because the brain and the mind and the heart are inextricably linked. There's an energy field and an electromagnetic field that operate them. So there's going to be an effect one way or the other, just like the principles of E equals MC squared, which is the standard model for how I write about brain development. Energy and matter are interchangeable. So mind and brain are interchangeable. They have to be on the same page. But the theme that I really want to set forth is that we have for 50,000 years perfected a system without fail, a broken system in which we have guaranteed that every child, every person's inner child is broken and damaged. And we have all these intervention programs and healing programs, which we absolutely need because we're all broken. But we need to have in place, while we're doing reintegration and healing and all of this, we need to start implementing a program for every new generation where we have a system that ensures the unbroken development of every child. So we need to understand 4 main processes of intelligence. The first one is the spiritual quotient of intelligence. The next one is the emotional quotient of intelligence. The next one is the intellectual quotient of intelligence. And the next one is the volitional or willful quotient of intelligence. Now, you know that my soapbox has been predominantly on getting people to understand the 3 to 5 year old stage of brain development. This is the stage that is most neglected by neuroscience, least explored, least discovered, least researched, least studied. And in order to create real integration, rather than just have all these wonderful and ever more sophisticated programs on reintegration, we need to really put an emphasis on integration. The proper integration and intuitive cognitive interconnectivity between those quotients of intelligence happens and can only happen during the 3 to 5 year old stage of brain development. Now, why is that? Because, you know, if we consider one of the goals, I think India is in line to be the world leader for, to unite science and spirituality. We need to unite science and spirituality when they are most similar to one another. And in the development of the 3 to 5 year old brain, all cognitive processes, which include the spiritual and the scientific and the mathematical and all basic fields of knowledge, everything is situated in the same place at the same time in the 3 to 5 year old brain. So the brain makes zero distinction between things that are of the spiritual nature or the scientific nature or the mathematical nature or the physical nature or the invisible nature. And so it literally compels everything or receives everything to be as identical as possible during this stage when everything is still acquired intuitively. And
Absolutely.
right, in conjunction with intuitive language development, and where we use the verbiage of physical language to represent all of those, what I like to call cognitively correct or neurolinguistic proper algorithms of knowledge development. This is where we create the greatest power for integration before all of those. So this tells us again that we want to go back and really, while we're doing the reintegration process, while we're helping people
Carla,
heal.
let me get back to you, and let me include a little bit of others also. Let me include Mary and ask her a question.
Yes.
Mary, you deal with many students, and tell me, have you come across that family has become an issue when dealing with the mental health issue, where you have come across a student where family was the main issue and they would need more, they would require more intervention of the family to, cure the child. Have you come across that?
Yes, thanks for the question, ma'am. So there was this one student where the principal personally asked me to talk to. So I think that when introducing the mental program, it's necessary to involve teachers and the parents as well. So what basically happens is that the teachers at certain times, they expect us to break the confidentiality and want to know what the child is going through, the student is going through. So they think that, okay, the child is going to talk to the counselor, and then after talking to the counselor, then I'll meet the counselor separately so that I will get to know what my child is going through. So they would expect a counselor to tell whatever the child has shared to the counselor. So there was this one parent who met me and he requested me, like, I want to know, the principal told me that the child approached you for the counseling, and I want to know that what is my child is going through. Does she have any problem? Should I be taking her to the hospital? I don't want anybody else to know it. So they consider it as a big severe thing and nobody should be going through. And at that point of time, I felt that the awareness should be brought to parents and teachers as well. So I have seen, there was one teacher who asked me, like, I know it's confidentiality and everything, but then I would want to know what this child is going through. I would not be going and asking the child, but I would want to know so that I also can help. So whereas the student expects me not to share it to anybody. So the first basic skill itself is like we have to maintain the confidentiality, building the rapport. So breaking the confidentiality will also somewhere, breaking the trust of the client or the individual of the student as well. So I would say that introducing the mental health program, like Ms. Clara said, that there should be more of like awareness among the students,
Absolutely.
not only among the students, but also the parents and also the teachers as well.
Absolutely. Like Isaac said, it's a taboo subject. It should be talked so much about that it is not considered taboo, and everybody, parents as well as children, can easily talk about it. Let me ask a question to Rajni now. Rajni, what are the new ways of staying happy and what are its effects on mental health?
Thank you, Mona, and really happy to hear views from Isaac, Carla, and Mary. Isaac, great, you're looking forward to these countries and bringing it the kind of programs. Carla also mentioned about the Healy program for the regeneration of the youth. I have only one question and my keen observations, because we do a lot of mental health, EQ, IQ, SQ, consciousness program across Pan India as of now. We have also started in Germany. And everyone is talking about mental health, mental health. That's the number one. Everyone is focused towards the youth and the children. Who is actually focusing on the mental health of the adults or the parents, because they are the one who is actually nurturing the youth and the kids. So the biggest question which I have, that children, when we talk about the happy homes, within the home is the first area where I dwell. So if my support system is not at the home, if I feel a loser at my home, if I'm not treated well at my home, Mary raised a very lovely point talking about the trust. If my trust is not accountable at home, now who is not accounting, who is not treating properly is basically the adults. Kids are just like clay, the way you mold. Me and Carla has been working on cognitivology a lot, being an educationist, because we believe that brain development is important. Do we have ever tried to think that as a parent? I work on triple A, which is called your aspirations, admiration, and also I would say accountability. Triple A is very important. And all aspirations on children. What all we need in a life is important to be happy. Now, sometimes the mental health doesn't even exist. The issue related to mental health doesn't exist. We are human beings, first of all. We all need to understand that we are humans because of the emotions we carry. Emotions is fear, frightenness, happiness, anxiety. All these are emotions. These are not mental health issues. Now, when we see the heightened degree of this, then we call it as mental health issues. But today's time, if you are crying, if you don't want to talk to anyone, you are just screaming for something, you're throwing something, you have mental health issues. That is the biggest problem among the adults and the society. No, that's basic emotions which is coming out. Let the emotions come out. We as a human being always look inward, and we understand that our emotions or our mental health is a state of our emotional expressions. Now, Isaac mentioned about listening. Listening is not with the words. I can express my emotions by showing my eyes to anyone. So that's also an indirect way of listening, because I am given a platform to express myself. Are we doing that? Whether it is at the office, whether it is at the home, whether it is at college or among friends, let a person express. The moment you express yourself or you're listened in a different way, you are actually deburdening yourself or decluttering. You are empty. Mental health will never come out of that. But since we are not letting, we are not listening, the degree increases, and then the mental health issues come up. Now, Isaac said that they are taking care of the Maharashtra police. I have also done for the Chandigarh police, and they are most into stress management. They are highly stressed people because they deal with so many people's problems. They are into higher mental health issues at times. So sometimes we are so overburdened with on the shoulder itself that we feel that we are a healer for someone, but we ourselves do have the problem area. Sharing is very, very important. Suicide is extreme, Isaac, I believe. I agree, but it has become a status also, a way of threatening also. Now I'm going to come to a point where you say about, if I'm saying mental health is also taken as a liberty these days. How are we observing and categorizing and grouping the pupils? Because I know if I say I have some problem, I will be getting undue attention. So I say I have this issue. If I say I have this problem, I will be given extra care by my teacher, or my counselor will pamper me. So even parents have started and telling my child is little, having these issues, please take their extra care. Make them sit in the first bench. Even at the universities or colleges, the group of students, a child wants to be in the eyes of the professor or the teacher, want to be feel wanted.
They take undue advantage and emotional. That is not mental health issues. There is a very thin line of difference. We call it as mental health blackmailing, according to me. It's not. So we as adults has to first understand, and more of your healing programs to be with them, because children are like clay. At the age of 13, your brain develops. The first 5 years are critical. How are we behaving with the children is important. How are we treating with them is important. What are we showing to them? Have we ever, most of the families don't, but I know the families who do, they have that cultural set at the home at the initial stages where they direct the energy of a child into small activities, making them learn certain specific things. If I'm doing something, my child will do it. It's learning by doing, not by just speaking the words. What we try to do is here, we try to, when we talk about the mental health, or we even try to do counseling, of course, as a psychologist, we have 4 psychologists here sitting, all the young girls who have been treating children of the schools, colleges, even adults also. So they do not have the differential age gap much, but still if they are treating, they can give you the studies of today. Love and care has gone a flip side of getting undue attention and calling it as mental health in today. I think that needs to be looked into, and more than burdening the youth and the children, I'll tell you, I deal with mass of youth. They are very sensitive.
Absolutely.
They are very
Absolutely.
sensitive. You just need to hear them. But more than that, adults needs the mental health counseling than the kids. Because if the adults know how to treat and channelize the energy, these issues which we are facing today, I think most will dissolve or dilute, Isaac. Isn't that?
Yeah.
Absolutely agree to that. And because as a caregiver, as a mother, I know how it is not, how you are treating the child is an important issue. How you are feeling at that point of time when you are taking care of the child is also a very important, because the person who's giving the caregiving, their mental health is also a very important part. It plays a very important part. Absolutely
One thing I
agreed.
tell you, let everyone feel their own feeling. Unless you don't come across, if you don't struggle, you will not overcome it. We try to pamper, we try to care extra, that we are not able to understand our own feeling is the biggest problem.
Absolutely. That is also there, because yes, that issue that you are not letting the person to struggle, and that struggle is what creates the strength in the inner strength in us. Okay, let me go on and ask Harshita a question. Harshita, how do you know that your mental health is disturbed, and what are those symptoms?
Yes, thank you for the question. So, to put it in a technical word, I would say that if a person feels that they're mentally disturbed, it would mostly be affecting the behavior, the thought, and the way thought as in the way they think, their behavior, as well as the feelings that they have. It could be the way a person perceives certain things. If a person is not in a state of mind where they can understand what they are going through, they might put it on somebody else. For example, if a person is angry, he is stressed. Okay, some person is stressed due to workload. He does not understand, he or she does not understand that I do have stress because of the workload. It might come out as anger. That person who does not realize it's stress puts it on somebody else, and that person gets affected because of it. So mentally distressed, when I say that, in simple words, if I say, it could also be something like, I cannot get out of my bed. Like today morning, I had to go somewhere, but I'm not able to do it. I know the meeting is very important, but still I'm not able to get out. One day it happens, it's okay. Maybe you had a rough day. But if it continues, if it prolongs, what does it mean? It's a symptom that, yes, you are mentally distressed. Something is affecting your life so much that you're not able to do day-to-day activities. Yes. So some of the symptoms that I could mention is like sleeplessness in general. These are pretty basic and simple. That is sleeplessness. You're not able to have your food properly. You have sudden mood swings. You're happy right now. In a few minutes, you might be angry at something. You might be crying. So these mood fluctuations, it could happen within a few minutes or within a few hours. This is a symptom, and your favorite dish is in front of you, but you no longer want to have it. Why? You should ask yourself, why do you not want to have it? It's something that you enjoy, but you no longer want to enjoy it. It could be hobbies. You could love dancing, jogging, walking, anything, or even talking to your friends, but you no longer want to do it. Why? Just ask this question to yourself. Why is this? This is some of the basic things. But also one thing that I would like to add is that when I usually mention these symptoms to somebody, they suddenly start thinking, yes, I do feel all this. Does it mean that I have depression? Does it mean that I have anxiety? Does it mean that I have some serious mental illness? They immediately start thinking. So every time I mention these symptoms, what I would like to say is this is very gentle. It could happen because of various reasons, not just one or two things. It could be something physical. It could be something that is happening in the family. You could be mourning someone right now. Maybe somebody died and you're not over it. That time you're grieving. Yes. And when you're grieving, it does not mean that you're distressed and you have to change immediately. You have to be happy. That is a process where you go through all that and feel that. And as Ms. Rajni said, you have to feel your emotions and let it out in a healthy way. That's when people will be able to move on from the whatever they're going through. Yes. And one more thing is never self-diagnose yourself. When I mention these symptoms, people start diagnosing themselves, saying, okay, I have this, I have this. These are just a checklist. Like, okay, I'm not able to sleep properly for a few days. I'm not able to enjoy the things I wanted to. I'm not able to carry out my day-to-day activities. Something is bothering me and I should check it out. And not something, yes, I definitely have it. That's why professionals are there to help you. So please approach. I would say please approach them instead of just diagnosing, going on Google, finding something. Because whenever you go to Google, no, it would say something drastic instead of simple things.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of memes nowadays that Google says, I'm having heartbeat, yeah. So I've got some issue.
No, but Mona, we don't need Google Baba, knowledge Baba, we need therapist.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to your psychologist. Anybody who's hearing this and listening to the webinar, please consult a psychologist. They are trained to understand. And one of my, my daughter is studying psychology, and she tells me, it's just not about breathing, mom. There is much, much more to it about it. And I hear it from her every day. So I know, please, everybody, if there is an issue, go to a psychologist. They are trained to help you out. Now, let's go to Kavya. Kavya, I have a question for you. What should you do when there is no clarity and when life gets too heavy to handle? I think the millennials right now face this a lot. Tell me what you feel about this.
Before directly going to the question, I have just 2 points to make. This is with regard to what Ms. Rajni ma'am has said. So you have mentioned that children, especially the needs. So basically, she said that sorry, I just lost my thought. Yeah, so she basically said that children, sometimes parents especially say, my child is going through something, they basically seek attention. Even children, even when I was working in school, they used to come to me, ma'am, I have this issue, that issue, they are scolding, these people are doing something, right? So what I hear from the teachers is, oh, don't worry, they are just attention seekers. Don't take them to session, right? So that's something that struck me. So I generally say that this is just to add to your point. I'm not saying you're wrong. Just to add this to the people who are viewing it is, I'm sorry if my dog is barking. So if they are saying that, understand that there is some need that's not being met. It could be from parenting, from teachers, from anything. Something that stuck with me is any behavior a child has is for their survival. Right? So when they're doing anything, crying, screaming, seeking attention, it's because something is not being met underneath that needs attention, right? If they need more attention, that the child's needs are different. That's it. So I just wanted to put that forward because I don't want people to misunderstand the point. So I thought I'll just put it forward. And
So
yeah,
what is the just
Can I say
a question I'm
something?
asking over there here is that see sometimes there will be Rajni, you said that there are attention seekers and there are people, you know, children many a times come because we're talking about a mental health a lot, and people do that that is seek attention. So how do you differentiate between them?
So,
Who's the
what
real one? So why I'm saying this is there might be a real person looking for attention there. So how do you know
Mona,
this is
what I
fake?
can understand, I'm trying to read the alphabet or words of Kavya, not between the lines. What I meant was that in a classroom, when you have a stomach ache, of course, it's not a mental behavior. It's about not being part of the class or the activities because the child likes to not participate or be active and just want to be self. So those are not mental health issues at times.
Okay.
So we have to be categorized in a way where we understand. And today, as I said, that mental health has become key attention thing. People tend to also, but yes, as Kavya rightly said, we need to hear them out and figure out whether they are really into a problem or attention seeker. That is something, yes, I
Absolutely.
agree with.
Absolutely. Because
So
see, there
Kavya, all
might be
yours.
somebody who is real. Yeah.
Yeah, but you all yours.
Absolutely right, Kavya. Yeah. Now, Kavya, what do you do when there is no clarity?
right.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of shift happening recently, as in there's a lot of awareness happening on various mental health issues, and then there's change in education systems. There's I feel like there's a clash between two generations happening right now, and
Okay.
this tends to burn out between both the generations. It's like for parents, it's sudden shift of culture. Now children are speaking about mental health. I can't do this. I need boundaries, etc., etc. And then parents are saying you don't have boundaries. It's family. There's no privacy. So there's a lot of cultural shift happening, and this can lead to a lot of burnout in all the generations. So when there's no clarity, first thing is it depends on what do you want the clarity on. Is it something with regard to your education, your career, in life? And what you do is first talk to your safe spaces. Safe spaces are someone who doesn't judge you, like you all have said, right? They don't give advice. Like, what do I do? Do this. That's not how it works. So talk to someone who can give you that space to talk. Sometimes when we talk is when we get a little clarity, like, okay, these are my thoughts. Maybe I want this for myself, right? And then sometimes when you don't know, even then you can list out your choices. What are your choices? What do you want to do? How do you feel about those choices? What are the challenges you'll have to face when you choose something? What are your consequences when you let go of something? What are all the things you'll have to deal with when you make a particular choice in any sphere of life? That's when you'll see a little bit of what is happening around, a little clarity. And then again, I will say speak to a professional if it's too much, because that's when you can get more help and you don't have to beat yourself up getting for clarity. And when it
Absolutely.
gets overwhelming, first thing, take a break, pause everything. One of my therapists told me once that just sleep throughout the day. This was during my course when I felt completely burnt out. She said, sleep throughout the day. That's okay. You don't have to do anything sometimes. And that actually
Absolutely.
helped. That actually helped
Yeah.
at that point of life. I'm like, okay. So
Actually, that really helps, Kavya. Sometimes I just, just leave everything and just say, I will not do anything today. I think that really helps.
yes.
There is a scientific reason of that, which Carla has mentioned in her lines. Bringing science and spirituality together. We as a human body is a universe. We try to know outside the world, but we don't try to know our own body. The day I think science should be brought in place, bio, especially knowing your own body. The moment you know your body and its structure, that the sleep is the most resting phase where regeneration of all these cells happen and the messages are slowed down. So the resting phase is more of healing phase. So lovely thing you told, Kavya, because many people, I have done this for 3-4 days, doing nothing and just sleeping. because I'm
Yeah.
so much bugged up with so many things. But then after 3-4 days, when I come out of my shell, which people generally call it a shell, is actually a recharging way. And then
True.
I'm so active throughout the month or 2 months or 3 months that I felt that what I did in 3 days is worth it. This self-realization is to be brought into various ways, actually, Kavya.
True. True. And you
Absolutely.
can
Absolutely.
also,
Yeah, Kavya, please continue.
yeah. So you can also find the activities you actually like to do in this space that you take out. Like go for a walk, play with your pet, paint, draw, dance around. Even especially for parents, they forget. They go into the parenting zone that they give no time for themselves. There's no me time at all. When I talk to parents, teachers in schools, they have no me time. They're constantly correcting papers, doing this, doing that. There's no time to sip coffee also.
Absolutely. That me time is so very important. I agree with you. And let me ask a question to Namita. Namita, do you think the number of likes or number of followers on social media is increasingly causing mood disorder in youth? How do you how to discipline themselves to avoid anxieties? What do you think about this, Namita?
Yes, ma'am. So social media is a great place to socialize and keep connected with our loved ones, but it can also create a false perspective of the reality. To feel the sense of belongingness in social circles, people post their pictures or content on internet and expect to receive positive feedback. And while reviewing other social activity, people tend to make comparisons such as, did I get as many as likes with someone else? Or why he or she has not commented on my post? So they're trying to search the validation on internet that serves as a replacement for meaningful connections that they might otherwise receive in the real life. And insufficient validations would lead to negative effects, like they feel distressed, sad, anxious, or embarrassed. And these leads to self-negative cognitions like I'm less worthy, I'm less likable, and which are known as a risk factor of mood disorders. And even during the pandemic, there was a girl who has committed a suicide because she did not get enough likes for her TikTok videos. This is how the youth or we are allowing ourselves to make the social media impact on our mental health. And again, FOMO, fear of missing out. If everyone else is using social medias, they're posting their pictures, they're updating about their holidays, where they're going, tagging each other, and the one who is not using the social media will think that I'm missing all the jokes, or they will not invite me to the next event or something. And this missing experience can lead to the anxiety. And to answer the second part of your question, that is how to discipline them to avoid anxieties. So first one is social media detox. This is highly recommended. So seek out for the real life connections instead of allowing the social media to become the substitution of social bonding or connections. We have to try to make the healthier ways to feel connected with the people. So as Kavya mentioned, we can go for a walk with our loved ones. Instead of checking their social status or just texting them, we can just go for a walk. Face-to-face communication is important for a relationship to grow and last. So although you may feel social media is helping us to feel keep connected, but structure of a healthier way is to spend quality time. And again, instead of seeking fulfillment and sense of accomplishment based on the likes or how many number of followers we are getting, instead of we can explore the hobbies or interest that brings you joy or in the present moment. And the second one is limiting the time spent online. So when we are limiting the time online activities, we can open up time for many other things. We can explore our hobbies or in-person socializing, which can create a break from the stress. And taking a step back from that routine can give you the time to relax and break this toxic cycle. So just a break from social media makes us relax. We can do other works like painting or just talking to your family members at home instead of being on our phone. And still it's possible to enjoy the positive side of social media with honest self-reflection and the responsible management. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Namita.
Yes,
Very
ma'am.
well said that social media is an addiction, which I think each one of us is facing. I face it every day. I think, bus, I will not do it more than this. Then I, reflect on it and then I get back to it. And that keeps happening. I see my daughter doing it and then I try to be more strict with myself. And let me go to the next question
Mona,
for
just
Mary.
adding to it,
Yeah, please.
I read a quote today in evening, which
Yeah.
says that support your friend just like you support a celebrity that doesn't know you exist. So we have to also understand social media, that we, in the charm or the glamour, we don't support the lives which are close to us, rather than which are more of a show off.
Absolutely.
Just click
In
the-
fact, sorry, Rajni, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Isaac, social media has become such an issue. I think I'm asking you this question. Do you think a lot of suicides are linked to social media now?
Again, as they already mentioned, the likes and dislikes, the way we feel accepted among a group has changed. So obviously, when you are not feeling accepted on social media, you are being trolled. And again, like you don't know the fallacy of it. You don't know that how stupid they are, that you are not building your reputation on somebody's comment for your life. The person who does not even know you, does he has the right to talk about you? So again, this comes back to yes, social media can do that, but again, if the proper training is given to the child, that when you're going to the social media, know the purpose for which you are going to the social media. So that has to be taught. A parent has to communicate that, this is what you are going, this is the purpose of going to the social media. Don't expect so much from the social media. So if that education is given, again, everything when we're talking about children is about education, is about information. Man is a product of information. We act based on the information we have. And if the information from everybody is that you are as popular as number of likes, it can be have a trolling impact on them. So they have to be educated. They have to be educated that likes and dislikes don't matter. What matters is who you are. There are two things I always tell children. One is reputation, one is character. A reputation is what people think you are. Character is what you know who you are. So don't build your life based on reputation. Build your life based on character. I hope I said it rightly. So once you tell them that character
This is awesome, Isaac, and this is the base of my life. That's very important, because world will know you one day. You have to just keep on moving steps by step. The lovely thing you have told to the millennials, actually.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
don't base your life on reputation, because lots of time is reputation. I say I don't care for the reputation, because reputation can be right, reputation can be wrong, depending upon the way you perceive me. There are PR for the social media, for celebrities. We all know that. They are an image consultant. They can give you a lifestyle, and that image can be changed on social media, but that does not change you. So in spite of living your life based on reputation, live your life based on the character. Build on your character, not on the reputation, because 100 minds, 100 voices, 100 mouth, 100 thoughts. So you can't know, you can't base your life based on somebody's comment. So these things are taught to celebrities, because they are being thrown. But we have to tell them that since you're going to the social space, people are going to talk about you. So how you are going to disconnect from it? So we have to tell them that don't build your life on reputation, build your life based on character. Just believe who you are, and rest will be taken care of.
Absolutely, Isaac. That is wonderful. What you, the key that you said. I think all the millennials who are listening to this, they should follow this. Build your character. Do not base your life just on reputation. That can be very deceiving. Now I have a question for Mary. Mary, educators are often the first to notice mental health problems. What are the key behavior changes to notice in a student behavior?
So when it comes to come to the educational setting, so we have teacher, we have principal.
I can't hear you, Mary. Mary, your connection, there is something wrong with
Sorry,
your
can you hear
connection.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you
I
now.
can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Mary. Put the video off. Maybe the bandwidth is not enough.
Okay.
Just put
Go
the
ahead
video
now.
off. Yeah, you can. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So what I was saying was, so as an educational settings, we have teachers and other faculty members, but when it comes to the class strength, there will be students of 35 members or 40 in a group. So the teachers alone won't be able to pay an attention to individuals. So even in that matter, counselors are ready to help to the individuals who approach them. So here the educators come. They play a major role in identifying, observing a particular individual student, like how their behavior is. For example, a very simple example where we can understand behavior change in a child is the environmental setting. Say, for example, a parent has got transfer from a different state, say like from Bangalore to Chennai. So you can see that the child has already adapted the atmosphere in Bangalore and made a set of group of friends. But when the child is transferred to another school, the environmental is different and the syllabus and everything is different. The child might also have a language barrier as well. So adapting to the environment and then performing well in the academic wise itself will become a very tough task for a child or individual. And the child will start facing self-esteem issues as well, comparative issues, and also feeling isolated. So these symptoms which an educator will note down and observe, and that's where the educator will play a role in educating the teacher as well as the parents. So bringing the effective measures would be by providing the programs to teachers and the parents as well, and also collaborating with the class teachers and knowing the individual students and how their academic performance is and how their classroom behavior is, how they are outside the classroom, consulting the principal, teachers all together, collaboration will help to know the individual better.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mary. Thank you so much. Now I have Carla. Carla, let me ask you, how would you know that a child is facing mental health issues? What are the symptoms, behavioral changes that would a child would exhibit that you know that they? What do you say to that?
Right. So certainly there are many ways to do that. And as I have made an effort to focus predominantly on what child brain development actually is. I have an issue with psychology. That's my mental health issue. My issue with psychology is that it focuses too much on disability. So even as Kavya and Rajni and Ramita were all speaking, and they were highlighting things such as, Rajni was saying the difference between just your own feelings, which are valid, plus, aside from a mental health issue. And Ramita was also speaking about taking time to do the things that you love and desire to do. And Kavya was also talking about clarity. And when you synthesize these things together, what we have really is, when we boil it down to its lowest common denominator, we have the issue of understanding real brain development again. And the human brain is emotionally developed. This requires relationships, which require language, which is communication, right? So there's a very significant adaptation that we need to adopt, where neural linguistics comes into the whole scope of what it is that we do. So in the course of sitting down and talking about, psychology's overemphasizing focus on what a disability is or what a mental health issue is, I want to look and severely emphasize what the child's abilities are, because these things that we have to then reintegrate or reconsciously remind ourselves as adults, go out and take a walk, have a good time, whatever. Focus on the things that are just part of our natural abilities that we have to remind ourselves instead of just doing it intuitively. We need these things to help us with our weaknesses or our mental health issues. So in the same way that we tell adults, go and have a good time and go do this thing that you like, go swimming or ice skating or walking, we need to put an extra emphasis also on that with children, because a lot of to the brain, there's never such thing as a disability. The brain only recognizes abilities. So we need to recognize what their abilities are so that we can put an extra emphasis on using those to see if the disability we have is actually springing from an ability. So if we look at a lot of the disabilities and or difficulties that people have just being able to freely communicate their feelings, which are all natural and all part of cognitive processing. And if we look at some of the issues in mental health challenges that people go through, a lot of them, if we classify them into visible and invisible, they actually fall into the invisible zone. And the invisible zone, schizophrenia, OCD, whatever it is, those disabilities all stem from a lack of ability development, and 60 to 70% of our abilities fall into that abstract invisible zone. Just like the universe is made up of 60 to 70% invisible knowledge. Remember, the human brain is a microcosm of the universe. So those things, those invisible senses that we have, like what we typically call the third eye, or telepathy, or any of those things that we're more familiar with, that we like and that we can talk about and contemplate, but there's so many more. So a lot of these mental health issues that we have that we could start seeing in early childhood, they're rooted in an ability, a huge chunk of abilities that goes completely unfostered and unmet. So my first question to teachers and parents and psychologists and anybody is like, okay, give me a list of this child's abilities first, and then I will speak to you about any disorders that are cropping up or creeping up into the mix here. And so before I even go into that, you want to sit down and talk to me just about one disability or one disorder that seems to dominate. Well, let's take care of where the ability that is stemming from, because then that can overshadow the disability. That's never to say that we should ignore it if there's still symptoms of it there. But when it comes down to it, again, whether you're an adult or a child, the neurolinguistic processes that we use, the cognitively correct codes that address all of our emotions, which are the seeds of all of our abilities, then those are the things that we need to focus on, because neurolinguistics combined with real brain development, and additionally combined with the true properties of knowledge and development, is our best clarity and power tool in overcoming mental health, whether we're an adult or a child. So there's cognitively correct semantics that an adult can use that can simultaneously heal themselves as much as they can help address their child's best intuitive cognitive development.
Beautiful. Can I add something?
Okay.
I think whatever she said is so beautiful. So
Thank
when
you,
we talk
Lindsay.
about mental health, always
Thank
tell them one thing in the layman language, that the pressure you are seeing in your life is a gap between the expectation and the training. Expectations are higher and the training
Absolutely.
is lower. Am I making sense? You are not,
Yes.
you are expecting what you are not trained for. So if you want to lower the pressure on your life, get yourself trained, because training is the bridge between making impossible possible. If you get yourself
Absolutely.
trained, but many times this is not being told to them that, oh, I want to get this. But the point is, you don't get what you want, you get what you are trained for. You know,
Absolutely.
I think I put it rightly. You don't get what you want, you get what you are trained for. So when you are expecting this thing to come into fall into your lap, my question is, are you trained for it? Did you ever give yourself a training? Don't expect somebody to just, like, you know, we have rules for nothing that, oh, a 16-year-old can drive a car or blah, 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 blah. Because again, as I will agree with Ms. Carla, that is about the brain development. At that time, you're not able to take care of the responsibility of your, you know, immature driving. You think, oh, I'm driving, everybody else should take care. No, driving is different. You know, am I making sense? So that brain development has not taken place. So you can say, I will take care of me, rest everybody take care of you. But in driving rule is, you take care of everybody. You understand?
Yeah.
If you can't take care of everybody, you have no right to take your car on the road. So when that development has not happened, this is where the challenge is. So when they say, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, I make them sit. I said, okay, my brother, my son, my daughter, let me train you for that. And what you are thinking you are not able to do it, just with the little training, you are able to do that. So I think
Absolutely,
I agree with
absolutely.
what she had just said.
That is very. Rajni has something to say. Rajni, what is it
I just
that you
love
have?
the way Carla has summed up. Under consciousness coaching, we do about progressive mindset and growth mindset, which is a buzz around. We do a lot of coaching even to the corporates or the senior. But when we talk about mental health, our focus goes always on the disability. Why not to have a progressive mindset? This is something brilliant, Carla, you have brought in picture. And I think it's
even I
message
agree.
to the mass, to the world, to the global platform, that let's look into the ability and the key skills a person carries. We are all born individual as a unique. What we wish in our life is more important than what the world wish for us. The moment we are able to get, we are able to understand and also get mentorship through the right people to know our abilities, I think we will overcome our disabilities. That's very, very important.
Absolutely. Very well said, Carla. Even I agree with you. We have to focus more on the abilities of the people, because each person is, special and has specific and special abilities. And if we focus on that, we can build on that. And, we can, bridge, like Isaac said, bridge the gap with the trainings, and we can, empower them to, achieve what they want. Before it's already 8:20, and before I just want the parting thoughts from Harshita. Harshita, what do you have to say? Any tips to the millennials? What do you have to, any tips you want to give to the millennials to be more happier?
A youth message to youth, basically. Not a differential generation.
No,
to the youth to be more happier.
I'm still in that. I'm trying to process everything. Like, how we see the spectrum. Like, one is saying that yes, mentally, NLP, all these things, we should not just see the disabilities. We should also see the pros of a person, like how they're talented, all these things. Yes, I would just say that both are important at the same time. It depends on the individual. Yes, some might be trying to heal from the traumas that they have. At that time, we have to focus on the pain. And when some must be trying to push somebody, like, okay, parent is saying that, okay, my child is not doing well, all that negative. That time, yes, we should focus on the talents. We should bring out the good things out of it. So I feel both of these things are important. So I was too caught up in that thought to think something else at the moment.
Okay, Harshita, that's okay. Namita, any tips for being happy to the youngsters? What do you have to say?
So as I teach in class also, I just ask, do you love yourself first? They say no.
Absolutely.
They say, I don't have this skill, or I don't look very perfect. So start loving yourself first. Then we can respect or love others.
Absolutely. Self-love comes first. Absolutely. We all are imperfect. I tell my daughter, please don't try to be perfect. I keep telling her, do this properly, perfectly. But as a mother, I keep doing that. But yes, we are all imperfect, and please accept yourself as you are. We are on the journey to being perfect, but in that present place,
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask Mary. Mary, any parting thoughts? What do you have? Mary, can you hear me, Mary? I think let's.
Yeah, she's there.
You there?
Kavya can share her thoughts, the parting.
Yeah, Kavya, please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Yeah. So I would say to all of them, first, don't live your life with the definition of others' success. You know, like what
Absolutely.
success is for someone is probably not the same for you. So just explore what is your definition of success. Prioritize yourself, delegate tasks whenever you can, and just keep rooting for yourself, I guess, at the end of the day. That's more important.
Very, very well said, Kavya. This peer pressure and the comparison really is killing. I see it everywhere, every day, somewhere or the other. Very well said that root for yourself because your definition of success is very different from others. Very well said. Mary, what do you have to say? You're back.
So I would say that the other thing which I would like to add on is that self-care. Self-care is also very important, whereas in B, like ma'am said, we always focus only on like the younger age, like the teenagers, the adults. But we forget that there are people in their old age also they feel that okay, I feel like they feel they are burden to the family. They don't know how to take care of themselves. So considering all the aspects, I feel we have to give importance to self-care as well. Self-care could be just going to the walk, like everybody did mention, saying that, and I was spending time with the family and going for a movie. So all this would bring in positive atmosphere at home, and also the person will have a lot of positivity as well. So I would just like to add on this.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me ask Rajni. Rajni, your parting thoughts?
I think we all have come up with a lot of thoughts, shares and all. My only thought is it's one life. Live what is best for you. Feel yourself, express yourself, and have your own goals, not on the goals of the others. We have coaches, mentors, people across will come. Yes, guidance is important. Get the right mentor. But your conscious, your inner self will tell you what is right for you and what is wrong for you. The moment you start listening to that, I think you will make up your life like wonderful journey, and that's more important. Reaching or not reaching is a different goal altogether. Let's not bind ourselves to that. That's my message to the entire nation or the world or the youths. Be happy, be content what you have, and I would suggest that less is always beautiful because you're able to handle it better. So declutter yourself. That's all from my side.
Isaac, what do you have to say?
I think so much has already been said. I don't want to say anything. I will just say that know that you have unlimited potential and look at those unlimited potential. Be your own brand. You know, in spite of copying anybody. I remember when we were leaving my engineering in 2001. So after the ceremony, my friend came to me and said, "Okay, let's take a photograph from memory." I said, "Cut it from the magazines and the newspapers when I come into it," because I wanted to be my own brand. I didn't want to depend on anybody else. So believe in yourself that you can achieve. You can achieve. Yes, struggles will come, but they will make you strong. There is a saying: "What does not kill you make you strong." So that struggle did not kill you. You have become stronger. So take them in your stride. Just because you have gone through some hurdle does not mean you're on the wrong path. Right path also have struggles, and so just don't fear the struggle. Just go over it, and you will see that you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. Thank you. And now, Carla, last one. Tell me your parting thoughts.
My parting thought is based on what everybody said, which thank you for letting me be here with all of you. It was wonderful, even though I had to get up at the crack of dawn. I would like to see a holiday implemented, a global holiday that's called Self-Rediscovery Day.
Wow.
because there's so many abilities and talents that people have, every individual. What makes you so unique is that you have so many more talents and abilities than you actually know. I would love to see a holiday. We have celebrate this thing and that thing and that thing and this thing, or a famous person or a historical person. I would like to see a holiday implemented that's called Self-Rediscovery Day. Every business and every kind of shop and industry has an open house, and you could be a chef or a bookmaker, and you could always, you when you were very young, maybe you had this dream about building bridges, or you wanted to be an architect, so you could go to a university and sit in a first year class on architecture and the math that goes into it, or you could go visit a bridge builder, or just something wild and outlandish that really appeals to you. You might be in a work as a school teacher, but every time you go to another place to visit, you just admire the way the naturalness of the land is, or you see somebody's beautiful landscaping on their house, so maybe you want to go check out flowering and botany and whatever it is. For myself, for instance, I've always been interested in botany and herbology, but growing up in the cement jungle, New York City, the ghettos of New York City, all I looked at was cement, cement. Well, sometimes we got to go to the country, but that's my closing thought, a holiday that's called Human Self-Rediscovery Day. That's what I'd like.
Wow.
Karna,
A holiday which is,
Mona,
yeah.
it's like take a break before you break.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good one,
It's
Rajni.
just the
I like that one,
rejuvenating
Rajni.
day. Self day, that one day for yourself. Do what
That's
you
a good
want to
motto.
do.
Yeah,
Live
but
up
everybody
your
can
life.
interact. There's so many interactions that people will just openly have with other people because they feel that they're going through this self-rediscovery. I feel like people will just talk to anybody, and it would be
Absolutely,
a wonderful
Karna.
thing.
Absolutely. That would be a great thing that happens, a world, self-discovery day. And now we come to the end. It's already 8:30. We have overshot the time and we had a great discussion. Thank you so much, all of you. We have a group called Voices for Happy Homes on Facebook. Please join the group. We are on a mission. We are on a mission of highlighting anomaly in the system, and we talk about it because it's very much related to our home, and home is the center of our living. And please join our group and be a part of our like-minded people. And thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Harshita, Karna, Isaac, Rajni, Mary, Kavya, and Namita. Thank you so much, and good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.